Am I the asshole for telling my boyfriend I will break up with him if he does not start wiping his butt? I, a 26 years old female, have been dating my boyfriend, a 27 years old male, for almost 1 year. We moved in together 3 months ago, and for the most part, things have been fine. He's funny, smart, we have good chemistry, and we share similar goals for the future. That said, there has been a problem. A really gross, ridiculous problem. When we first moved in, I noticed that he never had toilet paper rolls in his bathroom. We have a two-bathroom setup and tend to use separate ones most of the time. I figured maybe he used wipes or something else, but then I started noticing smells, like awful smells. Sometimes his laundry would stink in a very specific way. I thought maybe it was just bad hygiene in general, so I brought it up. He got really defensive and basically told me to drop it. Eventually, after too many suspiciously stained boxers and just a level of funk no grown man should be walking around with, I asked him point blank, "Do you wipe after you poop?" He shrugged and said, "No, wiping is kind of gay. Why would I touch my own ass?" I thought he was joking. I laughed. He did not. It turns out he legitimately believes that wiping makes you gay and that real men just let it fall out and go about their day. I told him that is not only stupid, but also incredibly unhygienic, and honestly, it is making me feel physically sick to be near him sometimes. He said I was being judgmental and that I should accept him for who he is. I told him I'd draw the line at poop. I said if he did not start wiping and taking basic hygiene seriously, I would have to reconsider the relationship. He is now sulking and accusing me of being shallow, saying I am prioritizing societal expectations over true love. He even texted me a link to a men's rights subreddit post about how wiping is emasculating. Now I'm wondering, am I the asshole for threatening to break up with my boyfriend over something as small as wiping? Relevant comments. Comment. You are not the asshole. You should absolutely break up with him. Not only does he sound homophobic and like those macho men, but he is a grown man with no hygiene and no proper excuse, like mental health, for it. Think about what would happen if you two were to have kids or something. You would have a whole family not wiping their butts. It is disgusting. Answer. Exactly. That is what really hit me. If this is how he is now, what happens down the line? I'm not trying to raise kids in a house where basic hygiene is optional because it's not manly. It's not just gross, it's irresponsible. And yes, the homophobia baked into it is a huge red flag too. I cannot build a future with someone who equates cleanliness with weakness. Comment. What the fuck? That is gross as fuck. Dump his ass, girl. Answer. Right? I've been trying to wrap my head around how this is even real life. Like, how are you almost 30 years old and still walking around with a dirty butt on purpose? I'm definitely leaning toward dumping him. There's no way I can keep pretending this is normal. Update. Hey again. I wanted to give an update because, well, it happened. I broke up with him, and it was somehow even messier than I expected. No pun intended. I sat him down and told him I couldn't do this anymore. I explained everything calmly, that it was not just about wiping, but about respect, for me, for himself, and for any space we shared. That I was exhausted from living in constant secondhand filth. That I genuinely couldn't picture a future with someone who refused to do the most basic thing to stay clean. He stared at me in silence for a few seconds, then laughed like this weird fake laugh. Then he got super defensive and said, "Wow, so you guess you never actually cared about me. This is what ends us? Over wiping?" I told him it wasn't just that, it was the fact that I asked him repeatedly to do something extremely reasonable and he chose not to, over and over. He folded his arms and said, "I'm not changing who I am just to make you comfortable." I said, "I'm not asking you to change your personality. I'm asking you not to smell like shit." That's when it got dramatic. He stood up, threw his keys on the couch, and said, "You're just like everyone else, judgmental and shallow." Then he packed a duffel bag like he was storming out of a movie, grabbing random stuff like a pair of mismatched socks, 2 deodorants, the irony, and a frozen burrito from the freezer. Before he left, he looked at me and said, "You'll regret this. You'll never find another guy like me." And I just said, "That's kind of the point." He slammed the door so hard a picture fell off the wall. He's texted me a few times, mostly passive-aggressive stuff like, "Hope your next guy wipes and lies to you about it," and "Real men don't fold for toilet paper." I haven't responded. Since he left, I've deep-cleaned the apartment, burned a candle, and done 5 loads of laundry. I can't tell you how amazing it feels to sit on a couch and not wonder if it's been in contact with poop. Anyway, thank you all for the push I needed. You were right. I don't need to fix someone who thinks basic hygiene is optional. I need someone who's already a damn adult. Relevant comments. Girl, you dodged a bullet, not gonna lie. Nothing says I love you like basic hygiene. If he thinks finding a clean partner is impossible, he should probably check his own reflection first. Enjoy your sanitized couch. Answer. Oh my God, yes, thank you. That part about the reflection, dead on. He kept acting like I was the problem for not accepting him as he is. But like, as he is, smells like a locker room floor. I'm genuinely so happy to sit on my couch without wondering if there's a ghost of poop past haunting the cushions. Sanitized and single has never felt so good. Comment. Why is he insisting being a man covered in poop is considered a personality trait that people need to accept? I have poo on myself on purpose, and it's unfair people don't accept me as I am. Original poster. Why did you date him? He must have reeked from the beginning. Answer. Slacking my ass off, right? At some point, he really started acting like wiping was a core identity issue, like I was asking him to change something deep and sacred about himself. No, dude, you're not oppressed, you're just dirty. And yes, I honestly don't know what I was thinking in the beginning. I guess the smell was kind of masked by cologne and short visits, and I wasn't paying close enough attention. Once we moved in together, though, it hit me like a truck full of spoiled meat. I just didn't expect the problem to be this. Whew, it was very difficult to read this story. I think I'm not the only one who felt a storm of emotions. Don't forget to write in the comments what emotions this story evoked in you. And write a plus in the comments if you also think that only gay men should have clean asses. Write what you think about this situation. Who did the right thing and who is the asshole? Let's discuss it in the comments. In the meantime, let's move on to the next story. Am I the asshole for not changing how I live for my stepson's girlfriend? My stepson Ben, who is 20 years old, moved in with us for the summer break from college. About a month ago, he asked if his girlfriend, Liv, could stay with us until the end of summer because things are not great at her home right now. I was not thrilled about the idea since we have 2 other children, aged 11 and 9, and 4 adults plus 2 children is a lot for our house. My wife is very lenient with Ben and can barely say no to him. So my objections were overruled, and now Liv is staying with us until they head back to school. Since she arrived, we have had a few issues, and almost all of them involve me. First, the main reason Liv wanted to stay elsewhere is that her parents are alcoholics. Meanwhile, while I do not drink every day, I do keep alcohol in the house and enjoy a drink with meals or a couple of cocktails on weekends. For Liv, this is a trigger, as seeing parents drink around children is uncomfortable for her. Second, Liv is vegan. We eat a lot of meat in our house. It is in nearly every dish. Plus, I hunt, so we eat the meat I bring home, and there are a few taxidermy mounts on the walls. This makes Liv particularly uncomfortable. Last weekend, Ben and Liv sat my wife and me down for a talk and made some suggestions to make Liv's stay easier. Their first suggestion was that if I want to drink, I should do it in private, not around the children. I tried to interject, but they asked me to let them finish before responding. Their next suggestion was to let Liv cook vegan meals for us to cut down on meat consumption. She offered to handle grocery shopping and meal planning to provide vegan dishes instead of our usual ones. Finally, they asked if I could take down the taxidermy mounts until they head back to school in 6 weeks. When they finished, I asked if I could respond, and they said yes. I told them my answer to all their suggestions was no. I said I appreciated Liv's offer to cook for us, and she is welcome to make some vegan dishes during the week if she wants, but we are not changing our entire diet for one person. As for the other suggestions, that is not happening. My wife spoke up and said it might not be a big deal to try their suggestions and see how it goes. She pointed out it is only 6 weeks, and a small lifestyle change for a short time will not kill us. I told all 3 of them that if they want to change their lifestyles, they are free to do so, but they are not going to force me to change mine in my own home for a temporary guest. I said, if that means I need to cook separately for myself, so be it. The mounts are staying, and if I want a beer or a glass of wine, I will have one. All 3 of them think I'm being unreasonable, and that they are not asking for much for such a short time. Reddit verdict: not the asshole. Write what you think about this situation. Who did the right thing, and who is the asshole? Let's discuss it in the comments. In the meantime, let's move on to the next story. Am I the asshole for throwing them out of a house that we own? My son and his future in-laws decided to exclude his family from the wedding. They thought my son owned the house, not us. My wife and I bought a 4-bedroom house in Pennsylvania that my son lives in. Our son went to college in Pennsylvania and wanted to stay in the area, so we bought the house as a second home. We live in New Jersey and commute into Manhattan for work. We figured that he would have a place to live and we could visit every so often and spend some quality time together. We pay the taxes, services, and maintenance on the house. Our son pays for his groceries and the house utilities. All was going well for a few years. Our son met a girl, and they got serious. We met her, and she seemed nice enough. They announced their engagement, and she moved into the house with our son. Now for the problem: the wedding. We held a little get-to-know-you barbecue at the Pennsylvania house. My son and daughter were there, as were our son's fiancée, her parents, and her sisters. We all seemed to be getting along well. My wife, daughter, and the fiancé went into the house along with her mother and sisters and my son. A few minutes later, my wife and daughter came out and were really upset. They came over and told me we were leaving and driving back to New Jersey. I tried to find out what happened. Once we got back to New Jersey and they calmed down, they told me that our son and his fiancée, along with her family, did not want us at the wedding. According to what I was told, they said, "We are not their kind of people." I was livid. I called my son and asked him what the heck this was about. He told me that her family felt that we were not good enough and would embarrass them at a family wedding, and that we were all uninvited from the wedding. I let a week go by to calm myself down and drove back to the Pennsylvania house. The new future in-laws were in the house along with the fiancé. It appeared that they all moved into the house. They asked me why I was there. I told them that since we were not invited to the wedding, I was coming over to talk to my son. They told me to leave their house. I lost it and told them that they had 30 days to get out. I told my son I was selling the house and he could find somewhere else to live with all of them. I went to a realtor in town and listed the house for sale. They called my son at work and told him what I said. Apparently, they thought that he owned the house. He called me and asked why I was selling his house. I told him I paid for it, along with the taxes on it, and it is mine. He was living rent-free, but since he does not want us in his new life, he has to get out. I told him the same as I told his future in-laws. They have 30 days to get out, or I will get a lawyer and have them evicted. Am I the asshole for taking a hard stance on this? He's my son, but the in-laws seem to take over, and we no longer count. Reddit verdict: not the asshole. What do you think about this situation? Who do you think is a jerk, and who did the right thing? Share your thoughts in the comments and subscribe to the Sneaky Pigeon channel to get more cool and interesting stories. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.